So when I first started selling at farmers markets, I showed up with a table full of kale, radishes, arugula, salad mix, and I ended up leaving with about half of that product wilted and unsold, and I genuinely could not figure out why. So in this video, I'm gonna share with you my top 10 tips for selling more produce at your farmer's market and all of the stuff that I wish somebody told me when I first started, so I didn't leave with half my product unsold and making way less money. So let's get into it. Tip number one is build your booth around draw crops. When I first started, I just brought the stuff that I knew made a lot of money on a small scale, like arugula, salad mix, radishes, stuff like that. But that doesn't really sell well on its own. People don't really get super excited about all those crops. But if you come to the booth with those crops and stuff like tomatoes, carrots, broccolini, snap peas, those are all crops that people get excited about. When they see them from far away, they're gonna zoom in on your booth and go right to your booth to buy them. Then they're gonna walk past all of your other really profitable stuff like the salad mix, but might not come to your booth just for that. So you gotta get good at growing the draw crops that make really good money, but also draw people to your booth to help sell all of the less sexy but highly profitable stuff like cilantro, salad mix, radishes, all that kind of stuff. So you want to put the draw crops at the beginning of your booth and make them really easy to see from far away. So when people see that big wall of tomatoes from a couple hundred yards away at your booth or at your farmer's market, they're going to zoom in and walk right to those tomatoes. Then you want to put your checkout at the other end of your booth so people have to walk past everything else in order to pay for those tomatoes, and they're much more likely to buy lettuce, kale, all that kind of stuff when they're sitting in line waiting to pay for those tomatoes and staring at them. So gotta build your booth around draw crops. Tip number two is master growing carrots, the ultimate draw crop in my opinion. When you're a beginner, growing lots of tomatoes is really challenging. There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and you're probably only gonna get a 3 to 4 month harvest season of those tomatoes. But carrots, you can sell 9 to 12 months a year. They are a draw crop pretty much every time you have them, and they make really good money in a relatively fast time period. We're talking 70 to 80 days. So you have plenty of time to at least grow a second crop, hopefully a third crop in that same bed, depending on your climate. So, and they're relatively easy to produce compared to things like tomatoes and cucumbers and stuff like that. All you have to do is master the bed prep and germination for the most part. We plant our carrots 4 rows on a bed with the Jang Cedar, the XY24 roller, and we grow Mokum variety because it's the fastest growing carrot that I know of, and we pretty much just stick to that for the most part. We grow 1 or 2 beds of rainbow carrots throughout the year, but these will sell to veggie box customers, farmers market customers, restaurant customers. Everybody wants carrots. It's one of those things everybody wants at a farmer's market, and you can use them as a draw crop, especially in the winter, because they taste spectacular after they've been cold hardened off in deep frost, because they get a lot sweeter. So they're the ultimate draw crop, and they're really easy to get successful at as a beginner. Tip number 3 is the pricing Goldilocks zone. So when you're first starting, you don't want to charge too high of prices, because if your stuff doesn't sell, then it kind of hurts your reputation and you're not getting the momentum you need in your business. But if you price too low, people are going to think there's something wrong with your product. So you kind of want to price in just this Goldilocks zone, especially as a beginner, to make sure you're making enough money and your stuff is selling at the right pace. So in general, I try to charge 15 to 30% above grocery store prices for pretty much everything. And then as your business and your reputation grows and you're selling things faster, you can start to raise it slowly over time. So we started selling carrots $3 a bunch. Now we're selling at $4 a bunch because the reputation is so good for them and they sell fast. So if certain products are selling in 45 minutes at your market, you probably should start considering to raise the price so they sell slowly and you have them throughout the entire market. Because if you sell out in the first half hour of a certain draw crop, that means that you're not going to get the benefit of that draw crop 2-3 hours later in your market. So you really need to price everything in a Goldilocks zone. So in general, pretty much don't charge less than $3 per unit for just about everything, and try to raise the price wherever possible depending on the demand for that product. Tip number 4 is pile it high and watch it fly. So a big mistake I see a lot of beginners do with their display is they have their produce spread out too much on the table and there's too much blank space. You really want to condense everything as much as possible so there's no blank space and it looks abundant. There's a reason why grocery stores display their produce like that, because it looks abundant and people want to buy things that look abundant. So you want to pile it high, really tight, have no blank space on your table, and start with the draw crop at the beginning of your booth and make your checkout at the end so people have to walk through all the less desirable crops to buy the draw crop. But that's really important, is keeping everything as condensed as possible. Taking table away later on in the market if you've sold too much. Keeping everything looking abundant throughout the entire market is the key to selling a lot more stuff. Tip 6 is ABS. Always bring salad mix. People always want to eat some kind of salad. It is one of those things that people want when they go to a farmer's market. People put salad mix on sandwiches, they make salads. It goes well with pretty much everything else you're going to be selling throughout the year, and it's one of those products that's pretty easy to produce close to year round. So it's a great benchmark for your business. And if you come to the market consistently with high quality salad mix and people come back every single week just for that eventually, then you're really going to have a strong baseline business for selling everything else. And it's one of the most profitable crops, if not the most profitable crop. If you're growing Salanova salad mix, it's unbelievably profitable. So this is a crop you never want to not have at your farmer's market. We pretty much have some form of salad mix all year round at my booth. We grow lettuce type salad mixes in the summer, mostly Salanova lettuce, and then in the wintertime we grow Tokyo Bacana and mustard greens because it's a little bit easier to produce in my climate under greenhouse protection. Tip 6 is strategic sales to move surplus product. So when you have truckloads of stuff like herbs or different salad greens, it's a good idea to run a strategic sale, something like a 2 for $5 or a 2 for $9 deal. So people save $1 on buying 2 units of a specific product. So they get a discount, but you're also moving more product. So for example, I'm about to run this sale at my farmer's market this Saturday for herbs because I have truckloads of cilantro, dill, and parsley. So I'm gonna run a 2 for $5 deal where people can mix and match, get 2 bunches of herbs for $5 instead of 6 if they bought them each individually. That little thing will actually draw people to my booth over time because people see that it's a discount, and not a lot of other growers, at least in my area, do this kind of thing. And it allows you to move an extra 20-30% of herbs that you wouldn't normally move. So use sales at your booth to move genuine surpluses. You got to be careful with this. You don't want to do it too often because then people expect discounts all the time. But when you have a genuine truckload surplus of stuff, it's a good idea to move more product really easily. Tip 7 is show up early and be ready when the market starts. That sounds self-explanatory, but it's really important because if you're not ready right when the market starts, you're missing out on tons of sales because most farmers markets are the busiest at the very beginning. So you've got to be ready when your market starts. I'm showing up at least an hour and a half early before my market starts right now to set up because I need everything ready to go because I do not have time to be setting up when I got a line of 20 people waiting to pay for their tomatoes. So I've got to be ready at 8 a.m. when my market starts. So you got to do the same thing. Whatever time it takes you to set up your booth, just plan for it and make sure you're ready on time. Tip 8 is have a slow day protocol. So when you have a slow market, which will happen, everybody's going to have some slow days. You want to start packing up your really perishable stuff a little bit earlier and keep them in totes at least, because the more you're able to keep stuff like herbs and salad mix in close density, it retains its thermal mass and stays cooler longer. So what I do when I see a slow market is probably about an hour before it ends, I'll start to pack up the herbs in totes really densely so they don't wilt in the sun by just sitting there. So that way I at least have a chance to sell them next week to some other kind of customer. Tip 9 is build the relationship before you try to push to sell. So every single customer that comes to your booth, you need to get to know them on a first name basis, know where they come from, know their story, try to become friends with them, because you want these people coming back not just for a month, you want them coming back for decades. And in order to do that, you gotta build the relationship. I have customers now that I've been selling to for over a decade at this point, and they wouldn't be coming back every single week if they didn't like me. So you've got to build that relationship and help people buy you before they buy your product. It's a very common mistake I see other growers make when they come with a truckload of stuff and they're just kind of yelling at people, encouraging them to buy 2 of this, buy 3 of this, and give them a discount here, give them a discount there, and they're not focusing on building that relationship with the person. And I'm telling you, the relationship is everything. Vegetable business is a consistent cash flow business. You get repeat customers, and so in order to keep those repeat customers buying as long as possible, you need to build the relationship and become friends with them. And you're not going to be perfect remembering every single person's name, but you've got to try and make the effort and at least show genuine interest in the people buying from you. Because ultimately, they're your boss and nobody else. They're the ones that make your business work, so you've got to treat them with the respect they deserve. Tip 10 is probably the most important tip on this list, and it's focus on having fun, not making money. If I could go back and talk to myself when I first started, I would have told myself this, because I probably would have saved myself a lot of headache at the time, and I probably would have made more money. Because when you're focused on enjoying the moment and having fun, interacting with people, talking about your product, it's magnetic. People want to be around enthusiastic people. And I can tell when I'm in a better mood, my sales increase for sure. And I'm not always perfect with this. Sometimes when I have intense stress, I'm not always bubbly to be around, but when I am, things just work better. So it's really important to keep that in mind and enjoy the process. Don't obsess about the numbers, especially as a beginner, because the numbers probably aren't going to be amazing when you first start. But if you keep with this and have this energy over time, people are going to come back to you again and again, and your business is going to grow, I promise you. Because ultimately, with this business, yes, people want your sexy vegetables, and you definitely need to grow a really high quality product, but ultimately, at least in a small town environment like where I'm at, people buy you before they buy your product. So that customer relationship is everything, and if you focus on enjoying the moment and interacting with people and joking around all the time, it's going to have really positive ripple effects for your entire business, and it's just going to make the whole process a lot more enjoyable. It won't be a chore. You're going to be able to do this for 10, 20, 30 years and not just a couple years. Tips like these are exactly what I go over every single week with growers in my Backyard Farming 101 mentoring program. In it, we cover everything you need to know from seed to sale to start a farm like this in your backyard, including no-dig farm layout, greenhouse growing, succession crop planning, plant propagation, sales and marketing, greenhouse growing, everything you need to know to start this business. And we get together weekly on calls to actually customize this for your specific context and situation. So if that sounds interesting, you can book a call with me at the link in the description below to see if this is a good fit for you. Worst case scenario is we have a really nice conversation and I send you on your way with some free resources that are going to benefit you at whatever stage in the journey that you're at. And if you want to go even deeper down the backyard farming rabbit hole, check out this playlist where I give you a bird's eye view of everything you're going to need to know to start a farm like this. So if that sounds cool, click here and I'll see you on the other side.